Hey, welcome to the tech capital of the world. I'm Bobby Davis here from Kernersville, North Carolina. Another beautiful day, and I'm joined by Kevin Doyle today. How you doing, Kevin?
All right.
Yeah, I know
All right.
England lost. So,
I'm here. It's all right.
yeah, but you know
Can't win
what's
them all.
worse than England losing in the Euro Cup is that
What's that?
the NBA, our NBA team, the national team, lost to Australia and Nigeria over the weekend. So that's just
Yeah, I saw that. It's like for a country that really owns the sport. I mean,
yeah,
that's just to say it. The NBA owns the sport. Yeah, to not be able to put out a team to win that is kind of nuts. We sort of punched above our weight. You kind of punched below with the basketball.
You got to the final though. We lost. I mean, we
I know.
just like
See, I'm totally happy with getting to the final. I don't like the way that I'm not a penalties fan. I hate penalties. I
yeah,
don't like watching them
right,
even when I'm like, it's not a good way to with teams that I don't really like
yeah.
support. But it's like it's not a good way to end the game. It was like a different game within a game, and we never do well at it, so
Yeah.
it doesn't
Seems
benefit
like
us.
if you had like the finals, like the World Cup final or the Euro Cup finals, that you should just play until someone wins.
Right, just let them keep playing. Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So they've had a few variations of this, right? Because they used to have a thing where so they go 90 minutes, then they do 2 15 minutes of extra time. There used to be a
Right.
thing where in those 2 15 minutes extra time, they had something called golden goal. First goal wins,
Okay, I
which
like
really
that.
pushed people to try and score within those 2 15 minute
Right.
periods, right? Now it's just
Right.
like you play 30 minutes, whatever it is, and then
Then it
obviously if
goes to
somebody's
penalty
then it
kicks.
goes to penalties, so it's like whatever. But no, Italy deserved to win. They're a good team. They looked like they were going to win from the very beginning. The first game they came out, like, hold on a minute, these guys are good. Like they're really good.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't lost a game in 3 years, so
Right.
that tells you something, right? Like
They're pretty good.
they're pretty good. You got to do pretty good to do
Yeah.
that. So yeah, it's all good. World Cup next. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's been going on in our world? Any exciting news that we've had lately, or you
No,
been
not
up to
really.
anything?
We've been on
Not really.
vacation, right? Have we been on? Have we
Yeah,
been away for a
exactly.
week? you told me just to go away on vacation for a week and do nothing, right?
Right.
That's pretty much what we've been doing, right? No, we've had an
Yeah.
interesting week, which we'll
Yeah.
we'll kind of talk about. So yeah, this is our first stream after launch, which
After the course launch, so
after
we've had a
course
lot of
launch.
people in there. We've interacted with a lot of you guys watching the course launch.
Yeah,
We've been making changes as you request them and trying to, make it as best as we can make it. So I'm pretty excited about the positive feedback so far.
definitely. I would say
A
it's been
lot of people are liking
overwhelmingly
it.
positive. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. So that's been
exactly.
awesome for us. There's been the odd
Right.
thing where it's not been positive, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's how it
Yep.
is. It can't be for everybody.
Yep.
I'll say I think we've had very very minimal people be like, this isn't for me. Like
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, very minimal. Like I think 5 people have said that.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Five out of the
that's pretty good
hundreds that
out
are
of
on there
hundreds and
now, I
hundreds
think.
that
And
are exactly.
yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
that's okay. I'll
That's
take
kind of
that.
cool.
That means we're doing something right, right?
And then some people have built portfolios already, so we're excited about that. I'm waiting
Yeah,
to see kind of what they're going to build, and
definitely.
I do want to look at some other people's stuff that they're building. So I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, look,
So
Godliest here finished the grid series. I also saw he posted his other project too on Discord. I saw that. So his address book
okay,
app. He made it
right,
responsive too. Looks super good. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Very
that's
cool.
kind of
Glad
cool.
glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah, the grid series. We have a Bootstrap grid series, and it's called Bootstrap in the Grids. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just goes through like 9 essential grids that you need to know how to build with Bootstrap. So it was something we do early on. We teach a lot of Bootstrap here. Um, so
Yeah,
I'm excited about like
which actually
people using it.
somebody asked us about that early on.
Yeah,
When we pushed the course out, they're like, oh man, there's no CSS section in here. We're like, yeah, we know.
yeah.
um,
Bootstrap is CSS, in my opinion. So like,
yeah. We prefer teaching that. Now we are going to add a CSS section, I think, but more of a reference section.
yeah. We may do some targeting, like how to build certain targeting selectors and things like that in
Yeah,
CSS. Make you aware of like what are the different kind of properties can you change, like borders, colors. I don't think we're ever going to get into like advanced CSS because we're trying to get on to building the projects, which is the biggest thing that we're trying to do. You know,
yeah,
we think that's where you make your money. So
right, exactly. Um, let's see here. So let's talk about like just really briefly like why we got delayed real quick at the beginning. So we did end up launching 2 days later than we had anticipated. Down to two things. Firstly, a video encoding issue and just time estimates. There's a if you don't know, if you've looked, there is a massive amount of video on this thing, and some of the videos are hours long. So you have to, not only when you record it do you have to encode it, but then you have to upload it and it re-encodes. That process takes a long time for these videos.
And then you've got to edit each video, obviously. There's a lot of editing, encoding, uploading. And so while we're doing all that, someone cuts the fiber in Charlotte. They literally cut the fiber, which we're supplied by a very large corporate customer we get our fiber from. So we're on like more of a corporate setup. And so when that corporate's main fiber is impacted, it impacts like all the customers downstream. And so they cut this main line up North Charlotte, north of us. And that took them from that whole day until like 4 to 5:30 in the morning the next day.
Yeah.
And so like I remember I was on Discord tweeting out like, yeah, they said it's gonna be back on at 7:30, and then it never came back.
And it never came back. Yeah. So
like
that's kind of our extra day.
Yeah. We couldn't upload anything. And we could have done some emergency things like translate everything over to like disk drives and move somewhere else that had internet, and we could have done all that, but we're getting estimates from the company. We're like, okay, well, it'll be up at 7:30. We'll just continue uploading and encoding, and then that didn't happen. So then it's just too late.
Yeah. Plus, we knew it wasn't going to be a massive amount of time. We knew this wasn't going to put us back like weeks, so it's like it wasn't really worth like the effort to do that. To be honest, it's like we knew it was going to be like it's going to come back on. And it's going to be we lost another day. Like okay, that's what it is. So instead of the 6th, our official release ended up being the 8th. That's pretty good, I think. I'm okay with that. I don't think that's so bad.
So we run this whole augment, this ARG game, and then we're late.
Yeah. Oh well, it happens. So there was no real.
Movies come out on July 8th. Whose birthday is July 8th, Kevin? We should look that up. See,
Exactly. Yeah, we'll do a whole other game. So it didn't affect us too much in there. There was no real people were asking like, man, we need to do a deep dive on like the why this happened. Like, not really. It's not that fascinating. It's really not.
Nah, just the
it's
internet
really not that interesting. It's really not that interesting. Yeah. It's like there was no real technical like glitches other than video encoding stuff. And that's not a technical glitch, it's just we kind of underestimated the amount of time that would take. That's all.
Yeah. And so,
yeah.
It takes hours to produce any of these things now, still, on coding and things like that.
Yeah.
So, hindsight, one of the improvements we'll probably make internally is build a render machines, and then build a network that we can just push stuff over to the network, and then that thing picks it up, use some PowerShell coding or whatever, and then render them automatically, so that you can keep the way we're set up now is like if you're rendering, you can't record. You can't edit. You can only render on your machine.
Yep.
So
and because it eats up the machine. Yeah.
And you record a video, and then it renders for an hour and a half. You wait, then you upload it, and then you wait for it to encode, and then you go back to doing what you were doing.
I would say if you're doing, you're right. If you do like an hour's worth of video, like let's say that you put up a 1 hour video, right? Like that, like it will take at least an hour to encode it, at least. It will then take however long to upload it again, which I don't know about you there, but for me at home, it's like it takes a while. Like I don't have the fastest upload speeds. We have a faster upload there on the fiber, but even then it takes a minute. And then the tool itself, its encoding thing, that's what the part we underestimated, is slow. It's very slow. It's sluggishly slow, and you can't do anything while it does it. So it it's just nuts.
I saw a thing from the other day. I guess we were just like slamming stuff up there, because we were uploading a lot of stuff where it said queued for. I got to a queue.
I did. Yeah, I did too. I was re-editing something. They put me in a queue.
I don't want a queue.
Mine did exactly the same, and I was just like, a queue? I've not seen that before. Like,
yeah.
I was like,
I guess the only thing I can think of is that we're, as a team, we're uploading and queuing and putting things up at the same time, trying to encode them all.
Yep. And also on the back end, so you guys know, we're using a third party as well to like secondary host videos. They're on the platform hosted natively, but we also have a secondary back end as well. So there's like 2 places we have, and that's just for purposes of keeping it consistent so in the future when we do have to edit videos, it's on a single location. That's a cloud location. So we have to upload it technically to 2 places, which just and that's not fast either. So
and then we have to edit too. So like if you produce an hour and a half that may be edited down to the hour and 15 minutes, you've got to edit, go through, pretty much watch it all. So if you record for a couple hours to make our video, then you got to edit. That's going to take you some amount of time to do that, and then you upload it. So it's just a long process to do this. So we're kind of excited that we got as far as we did. So,
Exactly. Exactly. So I just want to say thank you too to some of you guys who have been pushing in suggestions and those kind of things as well. That's been awesome. Particularly, Fjordlius has picked out a bunch of audio issues which we fixed. So thank you for doing that. You've commented on all those. Thank you. That helps me find them. And then there's been a bunch of people. Oh, actually, Clarita helped a lot with editing text on the side too. There's, we make typos. We all make typos. But Clarita is a homeschooling mom, so she's very good at English. So it's very good at picking up our errors. So she's been sending those to me, and I've been fixing those up. So I super appreciate that. So
we sent her a signed copy of my book and some other kind of stuff from Coder Foundry for helping us out. So hopefully you'll see that soon. And
but to everybody that's put any kind of suggestion in, thank you. We appreciate it. Yep. Okay, we do some comments here just for some people, just real quick. We'll go through some of these real quick. Thank you. Says enjoying self-paced. Thank you.
Dank beard, I like that.
Alantino says he couldn't wait to share in the self-paced course. Can you touch on how beginners should pace us?
I'm surprised at the speed at which some of the people are going through the content. So I don't know what your pace is. I really don't know. That's what we're watching to see, kind of like how people go through it, how fast you're going through it. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, I guess the answer here is to comprehend whatever is in there, whatever your comprehension level is. Make sure that you understand it before moving on. I guess that's the thing. Don't go too deep, but don't just watch the video. Get hands-on.
So one thing I would suggest is, let's say that you were building a JavaScript, one of the JavaScript projects in our Essential JavaScript, and you build it out and you're like, okay, I watched Bobby do that. I copied the solution down. I got it working, but you don't know if you understand it. Do it again without watching the video to see if you now can start figuring out, like, what is the steps I go through for building the JavaScript. See if you can figure out the algorithm and things like that to build it out. And I think that'll also help you. So it'll take you longer, but at the end of the day, you'll know more. And the whole point of this is to get a job as a developer. So, knowing is better than completing it fast. I mean, so like, this isn't a speed run. Like a lot of people are speed running through the course, which is fine. I mean, you do it however you want, but like, I think knowing how everything works is more important. So sometimes it means you have to do things maybe 2 or 3 times, watch the video, do it, then go back, do it again without help from the video, or maybe just watch parts of it again and like, oh, I forgot about this part, and then until you get it down. So that's
going to happen later in the course too. I think there's going to be things that are like, wow, okay, that's a whole new concept and idea that I need to kind of wrap my head around.
The other thing too is, specifically in the C# portions of the course, don't rush off and build the final project first unless you already know C#. You're just going to be lost. Build the small ones so that you can understand kind of how this is put together. We build them in steps for a reason, and that's why we're not. One of the reasons we are releasing Bug Tracker later is because we want people to build the other stuff first, so that they don't jump right to the end and we get lots of questions and we're going to say, well, just watch address book, or watch the blog video that explains all that stuff.
Because it is going to make some assumptions for things that you've done.
So when you get to Bug Tracker, we were assuming that you build address book and blog at very minimum by that point, and then you can watch that out. So like, but that'll be out there sometime next week, we hope. And that'll be another kind of like giant video drop that we'll put together. So, so it should be kind of cool.
Cool. Manny says, of course, amazing. Thank you for creating, and you're welcome.
Manny.
And thank you for the kind words.
Yeah, cool.
Let's see. Raymond says, "For you guys know on training platform, learn styles. I really like how the lessons are presented visually." And Jason is, what is he? Increasable at presenting information. He's that's supposed to be incredible. I'm guessing.
I would say incredible.
Jason, he's not here, right? He's not. Let's not let him see this. He's just gonna go to his head.
Hey Raymond, what about me, man? Where's my?
No, just
you're saying Jason. You're saying we should just replace me with Jason. Okay, we can do that.
This is Jason. That's funny. He also says future apps are better than my to-do list. I screwed that a lot. No, that's why you should. If you did, do it again, because you'll find the second time through, like Bobby said, it'll be so much easier.
Yeah, and the very first intro to setup is like it's super simple. We're actually going to have a to-do list on steroids that's coming probably this week as well in the JavaScript section, where you'll get another shot at building one that's like way more bigger than what I did in VS Code intro.
Yeah,
I was just trying to show you how to use the editor. I mean, really not trying to teach the to-do list.
Yeah.
Hey, all right, come on, got a super chat, got some taco money.
Thank you.
All right,
appreciate it.
Tacos.
Thank you for the all right. But yeah, the point of that initial video, was just to get you acquainted with the tool itself, not necessarily with what you're building, but it's kind of like we do have this thing here that we kind of hit the ground running. We don't you're not going to build a console app with us. That's just not going to happen.
No.
we want you to build something kind of cool straight out of the gate.
Yeah. And like all of our apps involve UI, Bootstrap, and whatever. So like everything that we build is going to have a UI attached to it. So there's just a lot of setup to get all these things built out. If you've gone through the JavaScript course, you know that we spend a great deal of time just building the UI around hosting our JavaScript apps. So like, hopefully that helps. So,
yep.
But yeah, if you have any problems, Raymond, just hit us up in Discord. We'll try to help you out best we can. So.
Yep. Walter says, enjoying the self-paced. Looking forward to today's live cast too. That's awesome. Thanks for being here, Walter. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Walter.
Okay, Timo says, will there be a rough roadmap of future content? When and what? Example, Q2 2022 for Blazor. Maybe you also said the course to expand horizontally, but we forgot the details.
Yeah, so there's a couple things that we're going to do in the immediate future, which is Bug Tracker and Movie Pro. Those are our immediate targets to kind of round out what we think is in the first release of this. And then right after that, we will be building a web API course, and then the front end will be done in Blazor. So what that project will be, we'll announce that later, but I expect that sometime this year, late this year, maybe in the fall timeframe when we have that built out. So, and that'll be a little bit smaller in scope and scale than what we're doing now. It's more like an add-on. So it'll be easier for us to update it and then do the initial drop, which took months. So like to build all this stuff out, if you can imagine.
Yeah.
I think that Blazor in this year for sure, and before the end of the year, and we'll get it out there. As we get closer, we'll announce a date when that'll come out.
Yep, definitely. Let's see, what's Sean saying? Oh, Sean's recovering from COVID, by the way. He had a rough trip with it, apparently. Wow. So glad you're feeling better, Sean, by the way. I went through the outline for the self-paced course last night. Just kind of see how things progress. Well, does that block site project look intimidating as heck from the outside? There is a lot in there. There is.
Just start from the beginning and do it all the way to the end. I mean, like looks like a lot, but we're breaking it down into the minute details. So like a lot of times when you see courseware, they make a lot of assumptions about how it should be built. They also don't build projects that are on this scale. So this is a legitimate piece of blog software that you could run a blog site for anyone. I mean, like it's pretty big in its scope and scale. And that's how we roll, because when you go to work, these are the types of things that people build. They don't build simple to-do lists for a living. They build, complex blog software. And then when you look at the Bug Tracker, when that comes out, you're like, wow, that's bigger than the blog. It is. It has a lot more. And that's why we want you to scale this up. So go through Address Book, build the blog out, and then Bug Tracker hits, and then you should have two really sweet projects that you can show off.
Yep. I just want to point out, by the way, that look up here, Tino's dominating the little board.
Oh man, Alan Toner, yeah, like he's just taken
It's
over,
recent
man.
super chats he's taken over. That's pretty funny. I just
Yeah,
noticed it when I put it on. I was like, that's funny. Um,
yeah.
okay, but thank you for those.
Thanks a lot.
Let me see. Mikey says, I've enjoyed the course so far. I really like the quick refresher of using GitHub. That's
Okay,
another thing
cool.
too. We kind of have a different approach about GitHub period too, don't we? Because we push GitHub desktop. But it seems like
Hmm.
some people push back on that. Sometimes you hear it all the time. We literally hear it
Yeah,
all the time. It's like, well, you can do it on this way or on the command line, and you can, but
you can,
we have to
and
pick
there's
a
a
way. So we're
thousand tools
teaching you
out
this way.
there. So we feel like GitHub for Desktop has come around so far that for most of the things that you do in your day to day, it's pretty quick, it's pretty easy to do, and from a teaching perspective, I don't have to teach all the command line characters that you could do. You can just clone the repo.
Yeah,
So
you can click a
it's
button.
pretty easy. Click a button. So one thing that I really do like that we did was that I thought was really cool and neat is using GitHub templates so that you can build something up once and then clone that to a brand new repo inside of yourself,
Yep.
your own repo. That's typically called forking, but like forking only works if you're cloning to a different account. Typically, you don't fork your own projects inside your own account, and
Right.
so we showed you how you can do that inside your own account, so that you can build something out, push it up there, and then have something that you can clone down and use it over and over again. So I thought that was pretty cool what we did there.
If you haven't gotten that far, that's where we're doing the JavaScript project. So you can build
Yeah, in the
like
JavaScript
with a
template, so it's
similar
pretty neat.
UI, you can
Yeah,
build multiple projects. So that's kind of cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, Estevan. Good to see you back. It says congrats on the launch, persevering through those challenges last week. Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
man.
excited about this new platform. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else does Sean say here? I love the Git and GitHub sections. The interactive way was great. I'm really excited to learn. Oh, I was really excited to learn Git. Yeah, that's cool. Been running through the basic HTML and it's about to be Bootstrap.
Okay, Bootstrap. Yeah. So I think that's cool. So Bootstrap and the grids just launched I think yesterday. So there's probably more stuff coming in Bootstrap even now that I look back at it, I look at some things that I just want to build. So I'm probably
Right.
going to add more to it.
Yeah, we're going to
Um,
continually build out little things in
yeah,
this. We're also going to add a change log
right.
too, by the way. So if somebody did
Yeah,
ask about that, we are going to add that. We're probably going to
right.
put it at the very beginning of the course so you can kind of see like what we've added throughout it. So if you want to go back and look at a
Right.
certain section where we add something, you can. It'll be easy for you to be able to do that.
Yeah. So I think that one of the things that I think is we're going to build more on the components inside of Bootstrap and just like how do we use like a card and how do we use um, nav bars, things, those kind of things, and then build out some very specific use cases around those components so you can see how they kind of work and interact. Now that you understand how the basic grids work, so should be kind of cool. I'm really excited about that. So
Yeah. See what Jens says. If I wanted to do to just do the C#.net part, would it take longer than 2 months if I chipped away at it daily?
So let me give you a hint of how long it takes us to do it inside the boot camp. All right, and then you can look at it. We spend 8 hours a day minimum. I would say most students are spending 10 hours
About
a
10.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monday through Friday, and probably Saturday too, and maybe some on Sunday. So they're spending full time doing this. Um, the bug tracker or the blog alone takes them 4 weeks to do. And then the intro up to that point is 1 to 2 weeks. So that's like 6 weeks of total time. So I would say on a part-time basis, it's going to take you more like 3 months probably. But you could, I mean, I've been amazed at how fast people are going through it. Now, we do stop and ask a lot of questions and a lot of things in the boot camp that we're not here. So it's just like straight content. So it could go faster.
Yeah.
But we'll just see how long it takes students to go through it. And we'll have a better gauge on how long that'll take, but it's going to take a while. So nothing you can do in a week. The project's too big.
Okay. Let's see. Hamza says, really like the tips about portfolio. I'll be following
Nice.
those tips for my portfolio. Awesome. Yeah. Share it with us when you've done it too. We'd love to see.
Yeah, so we believe in like the marketing aspect of trying to get a job too
Oh
is
yeah,
real important. So like that's where it goes to the portfolio and building out a lot of JavaScript stuff. It's a lot of marketing things, and like we have a whole lecture on branding question mark really. It's like, and we talk through like why you want to brand things and how you brand it, and building logos and things like that. Um, so hopefully, I'm excited to see some logo creations, Kevin. If you're out there
yeah.
watching this and you're in JavaScript right now and you've made a logo, you know, or you've got one that you built out for some of your, I'd love to see one. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let us see those. That'd be cool. Radamantis says, "Are we using Visual Studio at some point?"
Once you go to C
Definitely.
sharp, you will be. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Definitely. Yeah, those videos are up already because we had a
Yeah.
so in the very in well hold on, it's in one of the sections. Which section is it in? I forget
Blog.
now off the top of my head. In the is it the blog? Oh, it's the very one of the very first blog ones where we start building the blog out. We recorded the video and then they changed the UI on us. So
Since
it's
then, in the last month or two. So like, it's
so that's one of the things. But I made a note in there. So some things do change. So when you're first coming into it, it's like that's just to be expected. We're gonna have to keep updating the content, and we plan on doing that anyway. So
right.
but yes, we will kind of not too far in. Switch from
Yep.
VS Code to Visual Studio. Let's see. Danny C here too says congratulations on the release of the course. Was able to do or see some of it. Thoroughly impressed what you've released thus far. I know that was sleepless nights. Yeah. Bobby spent a long time at the office. I do that for sure. I know. I know. One day you came in. And it was like 8 something. You're like, I was here till like 4 last night, like 4 p.m.
Yeah, so
No,
Danny,
4 a.m.
4 a.m. I was up at 4 a.m. Like you're waking up. I was still awake. So I'm just saying. So
Yeah,
now if you follow Dan, he's always talking about get up at 4. And I was thinking about him one night when I was building something out at 4 a.m.
that's funny.
It's like Danny's just getting up. I'm ahead of the game.
Like it, but thanks, Danny. Appreciate it very much.
It's bigger than blog. It's
yeah.
bigger than blog.
Yeah, and the blog's
Just
big.
because there's more tables, more models, more views. It's more complicated. It's just bigger. And so once that comes out next week, you'll see. Now I don't know if that's going to translate into more videos. It probably will. We'll see.
Does I haven't counted how many actually or how long.
So once we get it all edited down, but the project itself is bigger than the blog project.
There's plenty there to get stuck into.
But Larry, what I'll say this: if you build the blog project, then some of the things that you'll do in the bug tracker work exactly the same because we follow a pattern in MVC. And so when you build an image service in blog, that same image service will be used in bug tracker, and it'll make a lot more sense. It'll be a lot easier. You may not even need to watch that video necessarily. So there's some duplication of work because the same techniques are applied across projects, no matter what kind of project you're building. So it's kind of cool.
Oh look, Restless Thing says is currently waiting a Fiverr response to get a custom branding logo. Did you pay $5 for it too? I'm interested. I know if it's called Fiverr, but they're not always $5.
Yeah.
Some of them are pretty good. I've seen some bad, but I've seen some great too.
So he's getting a brand new. He's already got a brand over there.
It's getting another one.
He's getting another one.
Yeah, I like it.
Right.
Get a designer.
That's kind of cool.
I think that's cool. Definitely.
And you do feel lucky sometimes from Fiverr. Sometimes I've used them before.
Yeah.
It does vary.
It definitely varies. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's why we've advocated for some of the stuff like Canva and we can put those down in here.
Canva and Looker. Yeah. I've linked those in the course too. I will say, so Jens is asking, I really want to buy it mainly for the .NET part, so I wanted to double check whether it was worth getting the pre-release deal.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I see. I would say yes. Obviously, because if you think you can do it in a month, then no. But
yeah,
you're not going to do it in a month. It's just, I'd be shocked if you could. So,
right.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
There's just a lot there. And then also, too, I think it's a good deal. If you think about it and you're just there for the .NET and you get it right now today, which today's the last day to get it for $229, that's a whole year, which means that inside that year, .NET 6 will be released, and there'll be .NET 6 content within that year that you'll get as well. So I think if you're just here for .NET, then learning about .NET 6 is going to be something that you're going to want to do early next year anyway.
Yeah, our goal with .NET 6 is to be early with .NET 6 because everybody else is early with .NET 6. We've seen people already talking about this, even though I think we talked about this on one of our other lives. Like companies are already like talking about it, which is unheard of. But when it's
so like for us, we
software.
have to delay recording until the tooling is a little bit more stabled out. So like we do know that with .NET 6, you're also getting Visual Studio 2022. So we're going to wait until that's closer to release versus where it's right now in just preview versions, because it will change a lot. Between now and the end of the year, they'll be playing with it a lot. So we don't want to do it super early. We want to do it when it's pretty close to release candidate, and that we can build out the projects in short order and get them out to you.
Yep. What did he say here? Oh, $35. My personal name, Restinger, based on the results for the personal one. I was thinking about reading Restinger. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
but he's liking what he's got. All right, awesome.
That's cool. Yeah, I like it.
I think $35 is probably a pretty good deal.
That's an amazing. Are you kidding? Like that's
a pretty good deal for a logo, especially if you come out with something you like.
Yeah, if you get something that you like, that's a steal. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Let's see. Liam says, enjoying the self-paced course so far. Great work, guys. Cool. And then has a follow-up question.
Thanks,
do you think that finishing the self-paced course will make someone job ready?
Here's what I'll say. If you can, and I say this, let me hedge my bet here. If you can go through the course, will that make you job ready? And I'm going to say depends.
Yeah.
However, what I'll say this, if you know how to build the bug tracker at the end of this, and you could realistically say, I could start a project and I could build something else like this, yeah, you're job ready. And that's our goal, is to get you job ready. Now, we don't know how people are going to consume the course. Do they just watch everything and just basically copy it verbatim? Then if you do that, then no, you're not going to be job ready, because there has to be a level of understanding. So if you think you could take on, like, say, the address book, go through the address book course and then build the address book without looking, I think that's a good start to being job ready, because that's kind of the mechanisms for everything that you have to do. And then if you go through the blog, you could say, oh, okay, if I knew the models up front, could I scaffold and build all the views out? Yeah, I think I could. And then, so that means that you're approaching job readiness. It just depends on, do you understand how it works? So, but I definitely think that's our goal, is to build something that makes you job ready.
Hey, look, Zach has his first code review today.
Right.
Is this by who? Is this? I guess this is just by your manager, right? So Zach is a former student who now works at Dell. So I guess this is his first Dell code review. That's
okay, cool.
Pretty cool. Good luck, Zach. You'll kill it. It'll be fine. Well, you won't have any issues. Let's see. Hamza says, instead of any certification and courses to showcase on my portfolio, I'm using GitHub to showcase my projects. Is that a good approach?
I think you should do both. I think you should show the compiled version on your portfolio, like a link to the compiled version. So publish bug tracker, publish blog, and then you can use the GitHub to showcase the code. But inside that GitHub README should be a link to the published version of that. I think that's way more powerful. But yes, you don't need a certification if you have a rockstar portfolio with projects. Your GitHub's on point. Go through, now that you're starting to build it, go through the welcome and it's like how to use this course video, and rewatch that now, and it should start making more sense about the plan that we lay out to our students here at Coder Foundry, how to get a job. So, and we're using all of these projects we're building as sales tools. So yeah.
Okay. I can kind of address this one. Larry says the course needs a back button to go back to previous topics as subject. So the course itself, the platform, the LMS, does have limitations. I've had a few suggestions about this around UI kind of things. We're kind of stuck with some of the things that we're kind of with. So some of the things we can't actually put into place, and this technically is one of them. So just know that. It's not something like we're like, oh, just add a back button. It's like we can't.
I mean, I don't know. Let me think about that. Maybe we could
We can maybe with it. Well, I don't know if we can.
Make a button? I don't know. I don't know if we can make a button.
Maybe, but then you got to point it back to. There's no way to point back to because we don't have code access within this LMS.
Exactly.
So there's no way of pointing it back to the previous video because then you add a middle one in, it's going to point back to. You have to be very
you have to redo
definitive.
All your
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's going to be. I'm not offering to do that. That's going to be a nightmare. Yeah, that's going to be a nightmare. So yeah, there are a few things, but thankfully they're kind of little things and. You know, they're just more personal preference kind of things, so you know it's not so bad. Let's see. Brent says, "Hi guys, enjoying the course. Thanks for putting this all together. Well, thank you for taking it, Brent.
Yeah,
it's something interesting, and we haven't talked about this, but this is kind of the thing we would normally talk about this kind of off stream, but we haven't, because we haven't had a chance to. But GitHub's Copilot. Do you think slowly developers' jobs will come to an end?"
So no, CMSs didn't kill web designers. Copilot's not going to kill developer jobs anyway at all. I don't think it's even going to slow it down.
Nah.
So in general, what Copilot's doing is building things to suggest for you. It's not going to ever say, where you talk to something, build me an app, you know? So just like no code platforms or low code platforms, don't replace apps. I mean, you can build stuff on things like what's that low code thing we use for the database?
Airtable.
Airtable. But the moment it becomes like super complex and like you need lots of workflow and you want
you're like, oh, that's not going to work.
You outgrow Airtable like that. I mean, like so, like you know, so it's really so like there's a lot of things that go on in the developers that just can't Copilot will never do. And the first one is creativity. So creativity is the thing that can't be AI'd. We don't know what we want to build. The AI will never do that. It would only reproduce things that have been built previously. So it'll never invent Twitter. It'll never invent Facebook. It'll never invent those things. And a lot of times that's half the battle. Like you go talk to the customer and the invention aspect of like, what do we need to do? Is built around how they set the business up or their unique business case. And so then you're building an app that models that business environment. And like, now the more places I work, the more I realize that businesses always do things differently, so like, oh, okay, I see how you do it. I don't think that's ever going to happen, and we've had this debate a lot. You hear me talk about a lot that the human mind and its creativity, it always laughs. Like when I see things like Terminator, I'm like, man, we would wipe the floor with Terminator. It's like, we just would, we'd kill them. We'd kill them all, like, because humans are exceptionally creative and like the abstract thinking from one thing to another and the leap from one place to another is amazing. Whereas an AI has to like look at what it knows currently. So I just think that AI is never going to defeat a very creative, intuitive person looking into something, saying the app needs to do this. I think that will always.
I believe Skynet's going to take over, and Singularity is coming, and I'm on the other side of this with a big tinfoil hat on.
We would destroy Skynet. It wouldn't happen.
I don't know. With an infinite amount of time, maybe, but it's not going to be. It's not going to take developer jobs in our lifetime. Put it that way.
Just we wouldn't lose in Tomorrow War either. Like the Chris Pratt movie. It's just like not too many spoilers for Tomorrow War if you haven't seen it, but the entire movie is a time travel like nightmare. Like in terms of its presenting time travel. They try and present like time travel as the solution by sending soldiers back in forward in time to fight aliens. It's like, you have a time machine. What are you talking about? That's the best thing you can come up with? That's the best solution you can come up with a time machine. Like in Tomorrow War, we went back and got a bunch of school teachers, sent them forward to be, cannon fodder for these aliens. Yeah. So like, seems like we could have sent some other stuff forward.
You have a time machine. Like
the guy comes back from the future and say, "Hey, I got some 30-year-old tech. Can you build this? I need this giant gun. Can you go? Yeah. Okay, let's build that. Let's send it back up there."
Crazy.
If I was in the Tomorrow War, I would have said, "Hey, I'll come back from Tomorrow War in the very beginning." I would have said, "Hey, I need to talk to Elon Musk right now." So like,
exactly. We got some stuff for him to build.
I know you see some stuff that we need to build. Like get Apple on the phone. Like we need to build some stuff.
Forget this going to space, Elon. We've got some guns for you to build. Yeah, it's funny.
He built a
yeah.
flamethrower. He could do it. So
Yeah, he could do it. I mean, Branson could do it. Went to space this weekend. You see that? This past week? Like, crazy.
yeah, he's in space. Hey,
That's
cool.
it's nuts. Okay, let's go to the next question here. Megatron wants to know, what are some of the key things a tech recruiter looks for in the case study for a personal project?
Okay, so let's talk about like who a tech recruiter is. Typically, a tech recruiter is a business position. They're not technical. All right, so they're not going to know the ins and outs of the language and things like that. So what you're doing to win a tech recruiter over is the functionality, the presentation of your app. You win by them looking at like, oh, that's a cool bug tracker or that's a cool blog site. I like what you did there. They're always going to judge it on the looks and functionality and never on the technical merits of it. Now what they'll ask you was, did you write that in .NET? And you can say, yeah, I wrote it in .NET and C# and in SQL. And so like those are the key things they're looking for. Does it match the tech stack I'm looking for? And is the software itself impressive to where if I showed that to a hiring manager, this person would get an interview? And so that's how you approach tech recruiting. Give them something to pitch the company, and then you get more opportunities to interview. So that's how you use it. Hope that helps.
Yeah. Osama wants to know, and we talked about this today. This is amazing. Can we have the live session this weekend?
Yeah, we're gonna do something Friday. Definitely. I don't know what we're gonna do yet, but we'll do something on Zoom, and then it'll get published. It's our first one, so we got to figure out like how do we make sure everyone knows how to get to it and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and,
it's going to be, so we're going to, as promised, it'll be hosted on Zoom, so we'll post that probably tomorrow, maybe. We're on Tuesday, so probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're going to do it on Friday. We'll be recorded, so we'll post it back up again afterwards too, so you guys can watch it.
Yeah.
And then we'll keep doing that kind of on a weekly basis, though. And then we'll figure out what kind of times work best. But they're going to be recorded as well, so there is that.
Yeah. So our plan is to do something early on in the course, look at some questions people are asking and demo some things, and then maybe even allow some of you to ask some questions about the particular topic we're talking about.
Yeah, we'll do some Q&A time in there too.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. It was like the ultimate procrastination strategy. That's what I'm gonna call it. Like, no, it's on Tomorrow War. It's fine. I'll get to it. I'll get to
it in 30 years.
Tomorrow. DreamHack says, congrats on getting the course out. I was wondering, are you doing any more in-person boot camps, or we've transitioned to all virtual and self-paced?
So in person, even today, is not on our radar. We're doing it all virtual, and you're basically on a Zoom call with the instructors for 8 hours per day, every day. So it's the best thing is in person. The problem with in person for us is we can only offer it locally to Greensboro. And now with virtual, we can bring people in from all over the country. And, even sometimes part of the world, we have someone in the course currently now that's outside the US taking the course. So like, it allows a lot more people to get in, and we think we can deliver it as the same as if you were in person. So we don't see any drop off in the quality. So,
yeah, which was a big thing for us. That's we believed in immersive in person learning, and we wanted that to be the same kind of product, even if you were remote. So, and we've definitely delivered on that. Okay. Let's see. Next one. Jamal wants to know, is .NET good for freelancing?
I think so. I think a lot of people are always looking for people, contractors, freelancing. When you're freelancing, typically you're building something for the customer. So a lot of times you get to choose the stack you're building it on. If you're contracting, they are telling you what stack they are. So like if you're building things for people, then .NET's good for that. I have a consulting company. That's a giant freelancing thing. That's how we build it all in .NET. So everything we do. So I think so. Depends on your area and how you market yourself and what you're going to be building, though.
Okay. About an older video, but Prag wants to know we did the notary coding project part 2. Is there a part 2? Do we have a follow up to that?
I don't
There's no
know.
follow up. I don't know what that would be.
I'm going to add Notary to the platform though, so I'm going to revisit Notary. So I'm just going to put that on my to-do list, Prag, and then that's not going to be this week, but it's definitely on our whiteboard of more JavaScript projects we're going to add. And I do think that things have changed for me and like the way I approach things since I initially recorded Notary. So I think there's a lot more things that I can do with it that make it a little bit better. So we'll probably add more JavaScript projects to the course. I don't know about part 2, but
yeah, maybe it's Notary the
maybe
remake.
that video I mentioned in part 2, but that was like 3 years ago. So obviously,
okay, yeah.
that's not happening.
So maybe it's Notary the remake. We're just remaking the original. We're not. It's not a prequel. It's not a sequel. It's a remake.
The remake, the requel, the reboot sequel.
yeah. That's it. Jolliest wants to know: can I go to the portfolio part and go back when the Bootstrap address book and invoice solutions are ready? Just want to go step by step with the course.
Yeah, you can do it in any order you want. Address book will launch today. If you're looking at .NET, you want to go do the 3 .NET projects before that, which is like there's a FizzBuzz or some other ones, an intro, and then you want to build address book. That's the first .NET project you want to build right now today, and then you move on to blog, and then invoice will be something later. But you can go back to those. If you're talking about the Bootstrap stuff, we'll be releasing solutions to those right now. But try to build those Bootstrap solutions to those pages right now today. See if you can do it. I think that's helpful you out. So, but you don't have to do it in order. But I do think .NET should be done in order. So
there you go. Let me see. You know what? I just want to share this to you real quick.
Okay.
Let me take this off.
Cool.
This is in the course log. We're at 200
baby.
different steps into that. Means Jason just published something because we were at 199 before. So
Yeah,
that means Jason just added something.
Which
is interesting. So yeah, this we're at 200 different steps. So right now, I don't know. We should count up the amount of video content that's in here because it's a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when you get down into the sections down here. So this was just to point out, this was the new Bootstrap section that we kind of added over the last couple of days here that Bobby added kind of overnight into last night. So building these things is cool. I might play with this. This is kind of cool.
This is pretty cool. I like them.
These are just common layouts based on what you've seen, right?
Yeah, I just came up with 9 common layouts that you might see and you may be asked to build. So, just seeing how those things can morph between mobile up to a 4K monitor is one of the main goals into it.
Right.
So we talk about laying it out and then stacking them on the different resolutions. So that's kind of cool.
Did I hear that one of these was difficult to do?
3.
Why is 3 difficult? Just out of interest.
Because it has a horizontal stack.
Oh, I see. This right section's got... Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so like when you're doing that, I talk about things like overflow. Like typically when you see this, you may have an article on the left-hand side, and then you have some blurbs on the right.
Yeah.
And so you want to constrain that space. So there's some other techniques in there that you don't want that to necessarily flow down the page. So you want it to be in a constrained space. So there's a little bit of challenges in there.
Yeah,
I think that one, when we looked at Discord, was the one that threw people the most.
Okay. So. I do remember somebody saying, like, I don't get this one, or why is this one's difficult? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, there is there's a lot in there to sink your teeth into. And again, like I said, we're constantly kind of making little additions to this stuff too. As well as adding larger sections. So we are, as typos come up and like things we feel like people are getting stuck on certain things, we're adding those parts back in. So this is a constantly evolving thing for us too, which is why it's taking, it's a ton of work.
And then, if you've gone past JavaScript and we add more JavaScript projects, that's okay. You can come back and say, hey, you know what? I want to do that new one. And just to republish my skills. Typically, it's not the same thing either. So we're typically teaching something new that's not in the other ones.
Right.
So you may learn something new about JavaScript that you didn't know before. So, you're never going to have a complete knowledge of all this stuff anyway. So like always revisiting JavaScript later in the day, a month from now, or Bootstrap is going to help you as a developer and go, oh, okay, that's kind of cool what they did there. So
there you go. Slightly unrelated question, but we'll talk about it real quick. Platform do you prefer for virtual meetings, Zoom or Teams?
One-on-ones right now, I use, as you know, he knows the answer. I use Teams. So when I talk to people, I use Teams. When we have a giant classroom, we use Zoom. So
Zoom has those breakout rooms, which are just good that we like.
And so we've never really, since we launched, we haven't really went back and tried to do a classroom in Teams. At first, you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I think now they've tried to make it where you could. But I use them both.
Teams was very, very limited when we first did it. When we first went virtual, Teams just wasn't a platform that we could use because I think it was limited to like 16 people or something. It was it was a really low number. It was like, well, that's not going to work. Like it's a lot larger now, but Zoom seems to have matured a little bit better. But we use both.
Yeah, I use Teams mostly in one-on-ones and smaller meetings. Zoom will be for a webinar or the classroom.
Yep. Another freelancing style question: Spring Boot good for freelancing?
Again, I think in freelancing, the way I understand it is you're building something on spec, and so pick the thing you want to build. Now, if you're building like you're freelancing and you're like building a static homepage, then Spring Boot and .NET isn't your choice. I mean, you need to do that with HTML, CSS, and something like Bootstrap, But like if you're building applications, an inventory control system, you can do it in Spring Boot as well as .NET. All right, Chris.
Chris says this course has exceeded my expectations. First round's
on me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Chris. Thanks a lot, man. I'm glad that it's helped you out. So that's cool.
Definitely. I love when it exceeds expectations. It's not just like, it's all right.
It's all right.
No, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. We appreciate it. Definitely.
And we're going to continue to add to it. So we'll, I think that's going to set us apart in the industry where it's an active thing that we're working on as we add more content. So we definitely have a very aggressive and a very ambitious content schedule. So the guys will be working all through the summer and stuff like that. We'll take a little bit of a break and then get right back at it. So.
Okay, let me see. Speaking of freelancing, I noticed so many professional offices have such clunky software. Very, very, very true. We talk about this a lot. How would you go about reaching out to a doctor's office or mechanic's shop to suggest some development?
So here's how I would approach that. So like what I would do is if you know a mechanic or you know a doctor pretty well, so you probably know your doctor on a first name basis, ask them this: did they buy that or did they have it built? So we know that if you're having something built, that's more expensive than the buyout. So typically in doctor's office and dental, there are some very well-used office software that they're buying. Mechanic shops may have similar things, the purchases that they're buying. And so what you could do is if you see an opportunity, which they exist every single day, and you know your mechanic, you can say, hey man, let me see kind of what you want. And so that way you could drive requirements. And then you could figure out like, okay, maybe I can throw my hat in the ring for mechanic shop software, and figure out kind of what it does realistically and what are all the features. Sometimes you see just one piece of it, and maybe that forward-facing piece as a feature is not really that great, but there's a whole other back end about accounting and everything else. The reason they buy it, that is great. So, but just try to get them to show you what they do and how they do it, and then maybe they'll buy it from you if you build it on spec, and then you have something to resell multiple times.
I think that's the key. You hit on it right there. Once you've built one mechanic's software tool, you now have a piece of software that one mechanic wants. Chances are they all want it. So you're building a platform. You can see them right now. Like there's a lot of people who have built platforms in the realty market for sure. That's a big market people have hit. The gym market. If you look at these places, they've built these applications, and you open up a gym, you go buy that gym software.
Right.
You want to be that guy for like mechanics or whatever industry you choose.
Right. So I think it's good, and then you sell it as a system that you build out, and you maintain the system, and then you try to find a way to bring customers onto it. I think that's the approach. I don't know if you can go to a doctor's office, even though they make insane amounts of money, unless it's just exceptionally large and the software they have doesn't do what it wants. Are they going to drop $300,000 with you to build something over 2 years? So,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Let's see what's Cam saying here. Learning C# and
Yeah, you
.NET.
always currently, yes, Cam.
Blazor is
You
the
need to worry
future.
about JavaScript.
Let's worry about JavaScript. Yeah.
Yeah. Blazor the future, yes, but like JavaScript's gonna be around for a minute. So like just learn them both. So you'll see how they interact with each other when we roll out something Blazor later in the year. Or you can look at some other things. Can you build a Blazor front end app without a lick of JavaScript? Without like open up a site.js and coding something up? Yes, you can. Does that mean that if you built something of massive consequence, would you have to use JavaScript? You probably will. But a lot of things that we use JavaScript, like just straight up, like I want to put a value in this input box, or I want to read the value out of this input box, you can do that with just Blazor out of the box. So
It's definitely going to be here for a minute. It's way too ingrained in way too many places for it to
yeah,
kind of go away overnight.
yep. All right, cool.
Okay.
Thanks, Cam. Thanks for the
yes,
super
thank
chat.
you for the super chat. Yes, we appreciate it. Mohammed says, I started working on a kind of a big project, but developed a big part of the front end using React, but haven't touched on state management nor back end. What do you suggest to do?
You need to start looking into state management and back end and how you're going to do that. Yeah.
Right.
So it looks like you're building a mobile app, and so you're going to need to do those things with a database like SQLite or something like that. So you need to look at how React Native handles those problems, from view to view or page to page, and then SQLite's probably be your back end of choice there.
There you go. Hey, look, Jen's bought the course. new $1 million website coming right up.
There you go, Jens. I like that attitude. Yes. So
awesome.
Just give us a shout out when you make that $1 billion website, and you too go to space. Just say it's because of Coder Foundry.
Yeah, wear a t-shirt. Wear a Coder Foundry t-shirt up there. That'll be awesome. We'd love
when
the
you build your rocket and go to space. So that's kind of cool. All right.
Okay.
Today's the last day to buy it, and then so
like
make sure you get in that great deal. I mean, just get in $229. Show them the sales page, Kevin, and then we'll get back to that Oracle question.
Yeah, let me pull that up here.
Not to just sell it. We just feel like you guys are going to like call at us next week, and we're like, it's $99 a month. It's going to be because there's so much stuff in here. But right now, today, probably sometime in the morning.
Yeah,
this is going to
in the morning.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it'll be $99 a month after today. So today's the day to jump in, and you get that for a whole year. It's a pretty good deal. And you have a little bit of time to look at it in case it's not for you, and you can get a refund if it's not for you.
And you get grandfathered in too, so the next year is also so that's
next year will also be $229, so which is a really great deal if you're using it quite a bit. So we like it.
Definitely. There is one thing I'm looking at on the pricing side of things too. I'll let you guys know now. I'm working on this on the renewal schedule, how that works. So because it's through PayPal and through Stripe, there's some other considerations there. So I'm trying to figure that out on the renewal. Obviously, we want the renewal to happen on a year from launch date, which was July 8th. I'm not sure we can actually do that. So there's some things I'm having to try and figure out about how to make sure that you guys get the year's worth of the price. But that's we're going to honor that, obviously, but some kind of extension or something. But it may take some action on your guys' part too, either through PayPal or through Stripe to kind of cancel and redo or something. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm still working with them to try and figure that part out. So we'll let you know once we do. We got a bit of time out yet to worry about that stuff. So I'm not super concerned about
next year.
But we will get there. We will fix that part. Last question here. Abdurrahman says, is Oracle developer still worth it?
So Oracle is a database and SQL is a database. Those are the two largest companies out there building database technologies. And so A lot of people build things on Oracle, so like I still think it's worth knowing if that's what you want to do. There's a little bit of difference between writing things like PL SQL inside of Oracle versus SQL in like a standard SQL Server or other SQL-based databases. So there's stuff in there. Oracle developers sometimes can also talk about their packages as well. So they have like some enterprise packages, and so that's different than just being a database developer. So I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but like any of these things, hey, I mean, people are using them, so like it's definitely worth knowing how to do it and then playing in that space. There's not going to hurt you at all.
Yep. One last thing, look.
Yeah.
Cat says, big thank you on your video showing how to build a portfolio site. Recruiter told me during an interview that my site was really good and I'm getting interviews. That is
nice.
Awesome.
Great, Kit Kat. Awesome.
Congrats. You just got to land one of those jobs now.
Yeah, just land it. Make it happen.
That's it. Cool. Well, we'll be back on Thursday. We'll do this again.
We'll be back on Thursday. We'll start hitting our live shows again. And then once we get through this initial content push, look for some more pre-recorded content from us on the channel here, free content that we're going to push out. As we try to like get to 100,000 subs, we need to do that.
Yeah.
Get Kevin a plaque. That's what we need. We need
tell your
Kevin
friends.
a plaque campaign.
Tell your friends about Coder Foundry. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
tell them to come
Kevin
subscribe.
A plaque, YouTube plaque. So that'd be awesome.
That would be great. We're at 60. What are we at? 67, almost 67, almost 68. So
yeah, 68,000 almost.
Over halfway there.
Cool.
Good. And thank you.
So we're over halfway there. So like, but yeah, so help us out there if you want to. Like it, love us, sub, and we thank you so much for buying our course. And tell others today. Tell them today's the last day if they want to get in. Even if they're not sure about it, they got a free look. Just check it out and see if it's for you, and then we'll continue to do everything we can on the self-paced course. We're excited about it.
Yep.
All right. Good luck, guys. Keep coding. We'll see you in the course, or I'll see you Thursday. See you.